On the morning I was supposed to walk into the happiest day of my life, I found my wedding gown. My dream, my symbol of forever, wrapped around another woman's body. And not just any woman, his secret lover. He handed it to her like it never belonged to me at all. People expected me to scream, to collapse, to faint in humiliation. But I didn't. I laughed, a quiet, dangerous laugh that made even the walls seem to freeze, because the truth was simple. I had prepared for this day far longer than he ever imagined, and the ending he thought he controlled, oh, he would never see it coming. The day began in soft light, and a kind of stillness that felt like a blessing at first. Through the curtains of the small bridal room I rented, sunlight spilled in pale gold, brushing the lace-draped chair where my gown was supposed to hang. My heartbeat, calm and steady, echoed quietly in the room. I had imagined this moment so many times, waking up on my wedding day, feeling full, hopeful, held by the warmth of a future I thought I had earned. I used to believe life had taken too much from me for too long, parents gone too early, relatives who treated me like a burden, jobs that drained me of youth and time. But I worked through all of it. I fought to stand on my own, to build something real. So when Adam came into my life with his easy smile and gentle words, I allowed myself to believe that, maybe, just maybe, fate had finally softened toward me. But fate doesn't soften. It tests. I ran my fingers over the white fabric bag where the gown had been last night, the one I had checked twice before I slept. The stylist was supposed to arrive at 9, and I wanted everything perfect. It wasn't an expensive gown, but it was precious to me. Bought with months of savings, late nights, skipped meals, and sacrifices no one ever saw. I loved it not because it was grand, but because it reminded me of every step I took toward the life I thought was waiting. A soft knock broke the silence. Good. Morning, the stylist said as she slipped inside, but her smile faltered instantly when she glanced at the empty hanger. Where's the gown? She whispered, her voice tightening around panic, as though saying it too loudly would bring disaster rushing in. I blinked, thinking I hadn't heard her right. What do you mean? It's right. I turned toward the corner and felt the air punch out of my lungs. It was there, I said, my voice thin. The stylist's eyes darted around as if she could pull the gown out of thin air. Someone must have moved it. The staff said a woman came early and collected it. They assumed it was someone from your side. A cold shiver crawled over my skin. Nothing dramatic, just a subtle tremor, like the moment before glass cracks. Who? I asked. They didn't see her face clearly. The stylist swallowed. She left quickly. Something shifted inside me, so quietly I almost missed it. A whisper of intuition, a memory of perfume I didn't own but smelled on Adam's jacket a week ago. A late-night phone call he claimed was just work. A change in his eyes when he looked at me, soft but distant, like he was practicing a lie he hadn't told yet. I didn't panic. I didn't scream. Instead, a strange calm washed over me, like the eye of a storm settling right inside my ribs. I'll find it, I said, and walked out. The venue was already buzzing with decorators arranging flowers, waiters setting tables, family members directing photographers. Everyone looked too busy to notice the bride striding through the hall with an expression that didn't match the occasion. But some faces did turn. My cousin, my aunt, a bridesmaid, each giving me that soft, pitying look brides get when something small goes wrong. They had no idea how wrong things truly were. I followed the only sound that didn't belong to the chaos, soft laughter drifting from the private dressing room at the far end of the corridor. A laughter I had heard before, a little too close to Adam's voice, a little. Too confident, a little too familiar. I knew the sound. I just didn't want to admit it. Something inside me whispered, this is it. Not the wedding day, the truth day. The corridor grew narrower as I approached, each step landing like a heartbeat. I touched the doorknob lightly, not trembling, not hesitant, just curious, as if waiting to see which version of my life lay behind the door. I pushed it open. The universe tilted. Ella stood before the mirror wearing my gown. My future wrapped around her body in white silk and lace. The skirt flowed to the floor, shimmering under the soft lights. She spun slightly, running her hands over the bodice with an admiration that felt like theft. And there, kneeling beside her, adjusting the veil with a smile too tender to misinterpret, was Adam. He was laughing softly, telling her how beautiful she looked. In my gown. He froze when he saw me. His smile vanished, his hands dropping helplessly. Ella stopped turning, her eyes meeting mine in the mirror, wide but not ashamed. No, hers held satisfaction. Triumph. A victory she thought belonged to her. My voice didn't shake. So this is where my gown went. Adam stood up so quickly he stumbled. This isn't what it looks like. I raised a hand. Don't insult me with that line. He shut his mouth. I looked at Ella, who tried to straighten her shoulders as if she deserved to be wearing something that symbolized a lifetime she tried to steal. Do you like it? I asked. My voice wasn't bitter. It was soft. Too soft. The softness that comes right before a storm. She didn't answer. You should, I said. It cost me more than money. Adam stepped forward, reaching for me. It's a misunderstanding. Stop, I whispered. You lost the right to touch me. Silence swallowed the room. What they didn't know, what neither of them could imagine, was that I had seen enough signs for months. The late nights, the unexplained messages, the sudden distance. A woman knows when love starts. Slipping away. But instead of breaking, I had watched, and learned, and prepared. I smiled, a slow, cold curl of my lips that made Ella's shoulders tense. Keep the gown, I said. It suits you exactly the way lies suit you both. I could see confusion in Adam's eyes, the beginning of fear. Because he sensed something he couldn't understand. Something I wasn't saying yet. I leaned closer, just enough for him to hear the truth in my breath. This day won't end the way you think, I whispered. Not even close. And when I walked out, I didn't feel ruined. I felt ready. They thought taking my gown would break me. They thought my silence was surrender. But as I stood at the entrance of the crowded hall, watching my guests whisper, watching Adam pace like a man trapped between guilt and fear, I realized something powerful. They hadn't stolen my wedding day. They had only handed me a stage big enough for the truth. The hall buzzed with restless curiosity. A wedding without a bride is a story, and people crave stories more than they crave cake or celebration. They glanced toward the doors every few seconds, the air thick with expectation. Some wondered if I had run away. Others whispered that maybe I got cold feet. No one imagined the real earthquake waiting beneath the polished floor. I stepped inside wearing a simple white dress I had bought the night before. Not planned, not glamorous, not meant to impress. Just white. Just pure. Just mine. The dress floated around my ankles as I walked, not like a bride entering her wedding, but like a woman stepping fully into the truth. Heads turned instantly. Gasps rippled through the hall like a current. Phones lifted discreetly, guests pretending not to record while absolutely recording. Adam's mother stood up, pressing a hand to her chest. His father stiffened, jaw tightening in dread. Even the violin music stuttered as the musicians missed notes, too distracted to play. But the most satisfying reaction of all came from Adam. He froze completely. His eyes widened, his throat bobbed, and his hands, still holding the cufflinks he'd nervously been adjusting, dropped to his sides. Behind him, half hidden by a column, stood Ella in my gown. She looked like a statue someone forgot to finish sculpting. Beautiful but incomplete, confident but cracking. I didn't rush. Let them feel every second. Let their hearts beat in sync with the suspense they created. Where were you? Adam asked, his voice trembling. He stepped toward me, reaching out. But I moved past him without a glance, walking straight down the aisle. His hand dropped midair. For the first time since I'd known him, he looked small. I almost felt sorry. Almost. I stopped at the altar and turned to face the entire hall. My pulse remained steady, my breathing calm. The weight of hundreds of eyes didn't scare me. Betrayal had already stripped me of fear. Before we continue, I said, my voice carrying effortlessly across the room, I have something to share. The whispering died instantly. Chairs creaked as people leaned forward. I pulled a small remote from my pocket. One click, and the enormous screen behind the altar flickered to life. At first it showed a single message. One Adam sent to Ella 2 months ago. Then another, and another. A slow cascade of lies displayed in glowing text for the world to see. The guests gasped as the evidence played out. Romantic messages, intimate photos, secret plans, excuses he had crafted to leave me alone while they met. Every betrayal I had collected piece by piece now lit up the hall like lightning. Someone in the back whispered, "Oh God." Someone else whispered, she knew the whole time. Adam lunged toward the screen. "Turn it off," he shouted. "This is private. This isn't fair." I didn't blink. Fair? The word tasted bitter. "You want to talk about fair on the day you dressed your mistress in my gown?" The hall erupted. A murmur swelled like thunder. Disbelief, sympathy, judgment, outrage. People turned to Ella, who shrank behind Adam, her face pale beneath the layers of makeup. The gown suddenly looked too heavy for her, as though it could crush her with the weight of every lie stitched into its seams. Adam grabbed my arm. "Listen to me. We can fix this. We can talk." I stepped back, pulling my arm away sharply. "No. Talking ended the day you chose her." His mother began crying softly, covering her mouth. His father glared at Adam with a fury that made the man flinch. For years I'd thought this family's acceptance meant something. Now I saw the cracks, how disappointment can break even the proudest parents. But I wasn't done. "Everyone here thinks today was supposed to be my day," I said. "But the truth is, it's yours, Adam. Your day to be seen, to be known, to stand in the truth you created." He shook his head violently. "Stop, please," I clicked again. The screen switched to a document, a legal one. Notarized, signed. 3 months ago, I said. "You signed all your business paperwork without reading it. Every time you came home drunk or rushed from a night with her, I told you, just sign here. And you did." Gasps, confusion, shock thickened the air like fog. "You didn't even look," I continued. "You were too busy lying." Adam stared at the screen, his mouth falling open. No, you didn't." "I did," I said. "And now half of everything you own legally belongs to me." The room split between stunned silence and explosive whispers. A few guests clapped, unable to help themselves. Betrayal is universal, and justice tastes the same in every language. Adam sank to his knees. Literally. His breath trembled unevenly as his world collapsed in front of hundreds of witnesses. "You planned this," he whispered. "You knew. All this time. You knew." I nodded. When love dies, a woman feels it first. When betrayal begins, she hears it before she sees it. And when the truth becomes undeniable, she learns to survive before she strikes. Ella let out a tiny sound, half sob, half indignation. "You're evil," she hissed. "You ruined him." I turned to her with a calm so sharp it cut the air. "I didn't ruin him. He ruined himself. He handed me the matches. I simply refused to burn alone. She couldn't hold my gaze." Her eyes dropped to the gown she could now keep because it was the only thing left for her to hold. I stepped back from the altar. "This wedding is officially over," I said, "but the lesson will last much longer." As I walked toward the exit, something unexpected happened. People stood, one by one, applauding. Not loudly, not celebrating, but supporting. A quiet, powerful applause that followed me all the way to the doors. Outside, the wind kissed my skin like a blessing. The sky looked wider somehow, like it had room for a new life. My life. One not shaped by pain, or betrayal, or stolen gowns, but by the strength I found standing in the ashes of what tried to break me. That day didn't destroy me, it revealed me. And sometimes revelation is the real beginning.